Very good morning and welcome to Breakfast News. In the next 1 hour, we'll get you all the latest news and updates. We have different segments also from national to across the globe, to sports news and weather updates also. All of that and much more. Correspondents will also be joining us with the latest. My name is Abhishek Mahajan and with me is my colleague Rukma. Very good morning, Rukma.
A very good morning to you, Abhishek, and to all our viewers as well. As Abhishek said, it's a power-packed news hour ahead. In the next 60 minutes, we'll be getting you all the new decisions, the crucial decisions taken by the Union Cabinet. There's election news as well, as by-polls are being held for Bhabanipur and also in a seat in Odisha. All that and more, plus news of political upheaval in the Punjab Congress that continues. Also, news from across the globe and sports and much, much more. But first, the headlines.
The Cabinet clears the continuation of a modified PM Poshan scheme to provide nutritious food to crores of school-going children with a budget outlay of rupees 1.31 lakh crores. The Pradhan Mantri Poshan Shakti Nirman Yojana will cover about 11.80 crore children in about 11.20 lakh schools.
Cabinet clears doubling of 2 railway lines, one each in Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat, worth over 2,100 crore rupees. Also approves listing of Export Credit Guarantee Corporation Limited to promote people's ownership through public participation in equity. Continuation of National Export Insurance Account scheme approved.
Defence Acquisition Council headed by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh approved proposals worth rupees 13,165 crore in a boost for Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India 87%. Procurement to be done from domestic sources. 25 ALH Mark III helicopters costing rupees 3,850 crore to be acquired. Rocket ammunition worth rupees 4,962 crore to be bought to strengthen armed forces.
Political crisis lingers on in Punjab. Congress Captain Amarendra Singh's meeting with Union Home Minister Amit Shah fuels speculations. Ghulam Nabi Azad writes to Sonia Gandhi, demands convening urgent CWC meeting. Senior Congress leader Kapil Sibal says party is without president. Don't know who is taking the decisions.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate a Petrochemicals Technology Institute in Jaipur via video conferencing today. PM will also lay foundation stone of 4 new medical colleges in Rajasthan.
It's voting day for by-polls to 3 assembly seats in West Bengal and 1 in Odisha. Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is contesting from Bhabanipur. In the state assembly elections held earlier this year, she had lost from Nandigram constituency.
And in sports, Indian women's cricket team all set to play their first ever pink ball day-night test match against Australia in Brisbane beginning today. Star batter Harmanpreet Singh Kaur, ruled out against Australia due to a thumb injury.
And now let's take a look at the news in detail. Well, the Union Cabinet has approved the Pradhan Mantri Poshan scheme to provide midday meals to students of more than 11,20,000 government and government-aided schools across the country. The scheme will run for 5 years at a cost of 1,31,000 crore rupees. Here's more on major cabinet decisions taken yesterday.
The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, chaired by Prime Minister, has approved the continuation of National Scheme for PM Poshan in schools for the 5-year period with the financial outlay of 54,061 crore 73 lakh rupees from the central government and 31,733 crore 17 lakh rupees from state governments and UT administrations. Union government will also bear additional cost of about 45,000 crore rupees on food grains.
इस योजना के माध्यम से सरकारी स्कूलों में जाने वाले विद्यार्थियों को या गवर्नमेंट एडेड स्कूल हो उसके विद्यार्थियों को भी ऐसे 11,20,000 से ज़्यादा स्कूलों के करोड़ों विद्यार्थियों को दोपहर का भोजन भी मिलेगा और 5 वर्ष तक चलने वाली पीएम पोषण में 1,31,000 करोड़ रुपए का व्यय होगा।
पोषण को याद करते ही ये खाना कितना और न्यूट्रियस हो, लोकल मटेरियल और क्या जोड़ा जा सकता है, उसमें समाज की सहभागिता में और क्या किया जा सकता है, ये सारा विषय एक प्रायोरिटी में आती है, इसीलिए इसके नाम पीएम पोषण रखा गया है।
The government has undertaken a series of measures to boost exports. Government approved continuation of the National Export Insurance Account Scheme and infusion of 1,650 crore rupees grant in aid over 5 years. Cabinet gave nod to listing of Export Credit Guarantee Corporation Limited through the initial public offer on the stock exchange. This will benefit companies by allowing increase in maximum liabilities to rupees 2.03 lakh crores from rupees 1 lakh crore by 2025-26. Government has also given approval of capital infusion of 4,400 crores to ECGC Limited.
नेशनल एक्सपोर्ट इंश्योरेंस अकाउंट इस नाम से एक स्कीम चलती है जिसमें 1,650 करोड़ रुपए अधिक कैपिटल इन्फ्यूजन का निर्णय आज कैबिनेट ने लिया।
In another major decision, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has approved doubling of Neemuch-Ratlam railway line at the total estimated cost of rupees 1,096 crores. It has also approved doubling of Rajkot-Kanalus railway line. The total estimated cost of the project will be 1,080.58 crore rupees.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने आज रेलवे के 2 महत्वपूर्ण प्रकल्पों को अनुमोदित किया, मंजूरी दी उनके नेतृत्व में कैबिनेट ने। इसमें से पहला मध्य प्रदेश के नीमच रतलाम की जो लाइन है इसकी डबलिंग की मंजूरी दे दी गई है। 133 किलोमीटर की रेलवे लाइन के ऊपर लगभग 1,096 करोड़ रुपया डबलिंग पर खर्च होगा, इस पर इन्वेस्टमेंट होगी। और इसके अलावा दूसरा गुजरात राज्य से है, राजकोट कानालूस लाइन को भी डबलिंग की मंजूरी दी गई है। 111 किलोमीटर की इस रेलवे लाइन पर 1,080 करोड़ रुपए का व्यय होगा, इन्वेस्टमेंट होगी।
लाइन की डबलिंग होने से उस क्षेत्र के उद्योगों में विशेषकर सीमेंट इंडस्ट्री, आपके वहाँ लाइमस्टोन की इंडस्ट्री, प्लस वहाँ टूरिज्म और वहाँ की जो कल्चरल हेरिटेज है उस सब एक्टिविटीज़ को एक बहुत बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण बढ़ावा मिलेगा। दूसरा प्रोजेक्ट है गुजरात में राजकोट कानालूस लाइन। इस प्रोजेक्ट का भी डबलिंग का आज अनुमोदन किया माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने। 111 किलोमीटर की इस लाइन पे 1,080 करोड़ रुपए का इन्वेस्टमेंट होगा। आप सभी जानते हैं देवभूमि द्वारका, पोरबंदर, ओखा, बेदी, सिक्का वो एक ऐसा एरिया है जिसमें हैवी इंडस्ट्रियल एक्टिविटी है, तो उस इंडस्ट्रियल एक्टिविटी में सुधार आएगा।
The Modi government is continuously taking major decisions in a phased manner in order to mitigate the corona crisis, and it is yielding results as the country's exports has shot up at a historic high level. With Rishi Kumar, Bureau Report, DD India.
And the industry has lauded the decision of the government for boosting exports, and the move will create over 6 million jobs in the MSME sector.
Cabinet decision on promoting exports is a welcome move. The outlay of 6,000 crores towards entities providing insurance cover is expected to yield incremental exports of over 5.6 lakh crores in the next 5 years. These decisions will create over 6 million new jobs in the MSME sector. This augmented by the production-linked incentive schemes which the government has done with over 2 lakh crores over the last 12 to 15 months, over 15 key sectors will create national manufacturing champions and generate employment opportunities.
The Defence Acquisition Council yesterday approved the capital acquisitions proposals for modernization and operational needs of the Indian Armed Forces amounting to approximately 13,165 crore rupees. And as we were telling you, 13,165 crore rupees has been approved for capital acquisitions, procurement worth 11,486 crore rupees to be earmarked from domestic sources. Key approvals include helicopters, guided munition and rocket ammunition. The DSC accorded approval for the procurement of 25 advanced light helicopters at the cost of 3,850 crore rupees. Approval was also given for procurement of terminally guided munition. The DSC accorded approval with the continued thrust towards Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India.
Right, moving on to our next story now. The political crisis in Punjab Congress is intensifying. Leaders of the Congress party are accusing each other for the party's imminent disintegration, and it is apparent the leaders don't seem to respect the decisions of the High Command. And the leadership vacuum in the Congress is playing out in a state where the party enjoyed a majority.
Disintegration of Punjab Congress seems inevitable. The latest twist in the tale is former Chief Minister Narendra Singh calling on Amit Shah. Earlier in the day, Congress leader Navjot Singh Sidhu released a video statement on Twitter. He referred to a compromise with issues and agenda in Punjab as the reason behind his resignation as Punjab Congress president.
मेरी आज तक किसी नाल कोई निजी केवल नहीं रही, ना ही मैं निजी लड़ाइयां लड़ियां। मेरी लड़ाई मुद्दों दी है, मसलों दी है और पंजाब पक्षी एक एजेंडे दी है।
Meanwhile, the slugfest continues within the grand old party. Manish Tiwari has expressed deep distress over the Punjab Congress crisis. Senior Congress leader Kapil Sibal alleged that the party has been weakened deliberately as the party does not have an elected president.
What Punjab required at this point of time was a safe pair of hands, was stability that could keep the ship on an even keel.
ये तो साफ जाहिर है कि कांग्रेस का कोई अभी इलेक्टेड प्रेसिडेंट नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी निर्णय तो कोई ले ही रहे हैं ना। तो ये आप भी जानते हो, मैं भी जानता हूं, तो उसके बारे में आगे बात करने का कोई औचित्य नहीं।
Asserting that stability in Punjab is essential for national security, the BJP on Wednesday hit out at the Congress over the political volatility in the border state and called it a colossal failure on the part of Rahul Gandhi.
असाधारण असफलता राहुल गांधी जी का यह पंजाब के पूरे इस प्रयास से सामने आता है और कहीं न कहीं राहुल गांधी के इस असफलता को छिपाने के लिए कांग्रेस पार्टी ने जिस प्रकार से पत्रकारिता और पत्रकारों पर हमला करना आरंभ किया है, यह अपने आप में दुखद है।
Apart from the BJP, other political parties have also raised questions after Amarendra Singh's statement on Sidhu. Aam Aadmi Party said that instead of working in the interest of the public in Punjab, it is only indulging in petty politics.
कांग्रेस के सीनियर नेता और पंजाब के भूतपूर्व मुख्यमंत्री के द्वारा दिया गया वक्तव्य काफी गंभीर है, जिसमें उन्होंने कांग्रेस पार्टी के अध्यक्ष श्री सिद्धू की कार्यशैली और उनकी निष्ठा पर ही प्रश्नवाचक चिन्ह लगाए।
पूरी महाभारत सत्ता की है और कुर्सी की है। इनको पंजाब की गवर्नेंस से, पंजाब के लोगों से, उनकी समस्याओं से कोई लेना देना नहीं है। सिर्फ अपनी कुर्सी की लड़ाई ये लोग लड़ रहे हैं।
Due to the political crisis in Punjab, governance has been put on the back burner in the state. Instead of working for welfare of the people, leaders of the ruling party in Punjab are busy in political mudslinging. Ajay Vikram Singh's report, DD India.
Right, our colleague Akanksha Saxena is joining us live to give us more information on this. Good morning, Akanksha. First of all, Punjab Congress crisis has been intensified and no solutions till now. Tell us what are the deliberations that are going on. New PCC chief will be announced soon, and top Congress leadership. We are getting to hear that they have not accepted Sidhu's resignation. What are they adopting? Is it a wait and watch policy?
Yeah, good morning. Punjab politics is entering into a new frame every day, and especially if you talk about Punjab Congress, there is the unrest for long and still the unrest continues. Today we might see certain things coming up very clearly, as Sidhu's resignation has not been accepted by the High Command there in Delhi, and yesterday evening many ministers and MLAs have gone to his residence in Patiala to talk it out. And yesterday, I'll tell you, the Chief Minister Channi had held a press conference, and he was asked that what exactly his government will be doing and he will be doing to talk it out with Sidhu. So he said that he is a member of our family, he is the head of the family, being the PCCC chief, and certainly we will talk it out. So I think there is a pressure, and from the High Command Delhi also, that they have to resolve this issue within themselves.
Right, Akanksha, and when we talk about Sidhu, tell us more about his stand. Is it a point of no return, or is this just a temporary sort of decision that he's made, and there are circumstances in which he could come back?
See, there are a lot of speculations on that, Rukma. Right now, we cannot say whether he's coming back or not. But then again, yesterday, after giving the resignation, he has also taken out a video wherein he is saying that my fight is not individual. My fight is for the interest of Punjab and its people. And yes, he is angry with some of the appointments which have been made. He says those appointments are of tainted politicians and bureaucrats, which is not going very well with him. But certainly the Chief Minister and here Punjab Congress is trying to talk it out with him, because they are saying that there is nothing which cannot be resolved, and they are ready to resolve it by talks.
And also, Akanksha, before we wind up, if you can give us a sense of what's happening in Delhi, in the sense that Captain Amrinder Singh could meet the G23 faction of the Congress party during his stay in New Delhi. And also, now what should be the BJP strategy in Punjab? Captain Amrinder Singh also met senior BJP leader Amit Shah. What do we make of that?
See, if in any case Captain Amrinder Singh joins BJP, it is going to be a win-win situation. And with the exit of Captain Amrinder Singh, it is quite a big blow to the Punjab Congress. If he stays also, still the things are not that cordial. And if he goes and joins BJP, then certainly BJP is going to get a lift, and there is going to be a change in the scenario, in the political scenario in Punjab, what we can see. And yesterday's meeting as officially has been on farmer bills. But what brews up, let's see.
Absolutely. Punjab Congress crisis has been intensified and no solutions till now. Thank you, Akanksha. Thank you for giving us your vital inputs.
And moving on now.
Right. So, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will today inaugurate CIPET, Institute of Petrochemicals Technology, Jaipur, and also lay the foundation stone of 4 new medical colleges in Banswara, Sirohi, Hanumangarh and Dausa districts of Rajasthan via video conferencing. These medical colleges have been sanctioned under the centrally sponsored scheme for establishment of new medical colleges attached with district referral hospitals. Preference to set up medical colleges is given to underserved, backward and aspirational districts. Under 3 phases of the scheme, 157 new medical colleges have been approved across the nation.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday chaired the 38th meeting of Pragati, the ICT-based multimodal platform for proactive governance and timely implementation involving centre and state governments. In the meeting, 8 projects were reviewed. 4 were from the Ministry of Railways, 2 from the Ministry of Power, and 1 each from the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways and the Ministry of Civil Aviation. Having a cumulative cost of nearly 50,000 crore rupees, the projects pertain to 7 states: Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Haryana. In the previous 37 Pragati meetings, 297 projects having total cost of 14,39,000 rupees, 39 crore rupees have been reviewed.
In West Bengal, voting is underway for by-poll to Bhawanipur, Shamsherganj and Jangipur Assembly constituencies. Polling, which began at 7 this morning, will end at 6:30 p.m. Elaborate security arrangements have been made to ensure that the polling process is free, fair and peaceful. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is the candidate for Trinamool Congress in the by-election to Bhawanipur seat in South Kolkata, while BJP has fielded Priyanka Tibrewal and CPIM Srijeev Vishwas. The Bhawanipur Assembly by-poll was necessitated after West Bengal Agriculture Minister Shobhandev Chattopadhyay vacated the seat recently. Although Trinamool Congress won the assembly elections with a thumping majority and formed the government in West Bengal for the third consecutive time, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee lost against Bharatiya Janata Party's Suvendu Adhikari from Nandigram Assembly constituency. Chattopadhyay's resignation paved the way for Banerjee to contest from the seat she had won in 2011 and 2016 elections to continue to hold the chief ministerial post. Counting of votes will be held on October 3rd and the results will also be declared on the same day. To remain as Chief Minister, Mamata Banerjee has to win an assembly seat by November 5th.
And joining us now is our correspondent Anibroto from Bhawanipur. Anibroto, how crucial would you say these elections are for Mamata Banerjee, first and foremost?
Not getting any audio from studio. Hello?
Right, Anibroto, if you can hear me, a very good morning to you. Can you hear me now?
Right,
I am not getting any audio. Hello, can you hear me?
Connected. We request the producer to try and connect him again, but all eyes will be on Bhawanipur Assembly by-poll as West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, she is contesting from this seat to retain her chief ministerial post.
बोलिए स्टूडियो से कुछ मिल.
We are trying to connect with our reporter Anibroto. We can see him, but
he's not getting our audio. Yeah, we'll move on to our next story. Voting has also begun for the by-poll to Pipali Assembly constituency in Puri district of Odisha. Over 2.29 lakh voters will exercise their franchise at 348 booths in the constituency between 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. with strict adherence to COVID-19 guidelines. The by-election to the Pipali Assembly constituency was necessitated following the death of sitting MLA Pradeep Maharthi in October last year. Votes will be counted on October 3rd.
And now for our latest updates on the COVID situation. In a significant achievement, our COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed the 88 crore landmark milestone. Cumulatively, 88 crore 28 lakh 81,552 beneficiaries have been vaccinated so far. More than 59 lakh 48,000 vaccine doses were administered till 7 p.m. on Wednesday. In the past 24 hours, 30 lakh 95,200 people got their first dose, while both doses were received by 28 lakh 52,918.
Delhi's Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal on Wednesday said that the Delhi Disaster Management Authority will consider allowing schools in the city to resume in-person classes for students of 6 to 8 after the festive season. Delhi LG chaired the 25th meeting of DDMA to review the COVID-19 situation in Delhi, along with Delhi Minister Satyendra Jain and Kailash Gehlot, Dr. VK Paul of Niti Aayog, Dr. Randeep Guleria, Director AIIMS and other senior officials. As suggested by the experts, it was decided to consider opening middle school classes 6 to 8 after the festive season. All the stakeholders were called upon to work in a coordinated manner towards ensuring adequate preparedness for tackling any future challenges. Currently, schools are allowed to conduct in-person sessions for students in classes 9 and above.
And with COVID-19 restrictions easing in Maharashtra, physical classes in Mumbai schools are set to start from Monday, the 4th of October. The BMC's Commissioner I.S. Chahal reviewed the COVID situation in the city and has allowed physical classes for classes 8th to 12th of all schools in Mumbai to reopen from Monday. All COVID-19 guidelines issued by the state government for school opening has to be followed. In the rest of Maharashtra, physical classes from class 5 to 12 in rural areas and 8 to 12 in urban areas will start from Monday. Mumbai Mayor Kishori Pednekar has asked the administration to begin preparations for physical meetings of corporators and other committees from the next month.
The Thambis of Indian Army Madras Engineer Group, also known as Madras Sappers, are celebrating their raising day, completing 241 years of their raising. The oldest of the combat engineering units of Indian Army have an illustrious history of bravery, valor and courage, as they even recall their role in Zojila Pass fighting the 1948 war with Pakistan in Kashmir and gaining victory, as the Thambis made way for soldiers in tough terrains which was only suitable for a sheep to pass through. The Madras Sappers have undergone transformation, adapting modern technology and upgrading skills. Commandant TP Wadhwa of the Madras Engineer Group highlighted the essential role of the MEG since the past 241 years.
MEG, the Madras Engineer Group, is also called as the Madras Sappers and have heard of all the Thambis. It's a very significant day because on this day, 241 years back, the foundation of what we know today as the MEG was laid in terms of establishing two companies of Madras pioneers for the Madras presidency by Lieutenant House in St. Thomas Mount, Chennai. You've seen umpteen number of wars, including the World War I, World War II, War of Taiwan, the Kargil War. The MEG has come a long way.
Further, Commandant TP Wadhwa said that the Madras Sappers have gone through transformational changes over the years and have adapted to modern technology and upgrading skills.
The growth of the Karnataka state and in particular the Bangalore city has almost been coincidental with the evolution of the Madras Sappers. It's coming over to Bangalore in 1868 and then growing and evolving in what it is today. We pick up raw quality gas from the state of Karnataka as from the other four states of the south and turn them into professional soldiers over a matter of 2 years. I think this is the biggest contribution in the state building and the national building effort that we are taking on. We are absolutely sure to continue on this path of excellence and produce material for excellence for the Indian Army and making us sizable and a worthwhile contribution to the state of Karnataka.
And the government is pushing for social and cultural connectivity of Turtuk and other remote villages of the Nubra Valley in Ladakh. Our correspondent Nanita Dagar visited Turtuk and filed this report on the government's initiative.
This is Turtuk. Turtuk and 5 other villages on the line of control were liberated by the army from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir in 1971. These Balti-speaking villages of the Nubra Valley are culturally different from the other regions of Ladakh. And now with the Modi government, with its focus on national integration and with its motto of Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat, Modi government's culture ministry is organizing a cultural event.
बहुत जज्बा है जीना, बहुत खुशी है। ये 50 साल की है, आपने ये खुशी मनाया, ये हमारे पूरे आवाम को बहुत खुशी है।
हमारे पिताजी या दादाजी कहते थे कि पाकिस्तान से बेहतर जो इंडिया में 71 में हम यहाँ आए और इंडियन गवर्नमेंट ने हमारे लिए बहुत फैसिलिटीज़ भी दे दिया और कानून भी अच्छा बनाया और बहुत अच्छे इंडिया गवर्नमेंट ने हमारे लिए।
நான் வந்து கரகம் டான்சர்ஸ் எனக்கு வந்து தமிழ்நாட்டுல ரொம்ப எல்லா இடத்துலயும் ப்ரோகிராம் பண்ணியிருக்கிறோம். ஆனா துருத்துருக்கு இப்போதான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைமா வந்து இந்த இடத்துல ப்ரோகிராம் பண்றோம். இந்த இடத்துல ப்ரோகிராம் பண்றது எங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமா இருக்கு. துருத்துருக்கு அடுத்த வருஷமும் கண்டினியூவா வருஷம் வருஷம் வந்து இந்த இடத்துல ப்ரோகிராம் பண்ணணும் நாங்க ரொம்ப ஆசைப்படுறோம். தமிழ்நாட்டுல பரதநாட்டியம், தப்பாட்டம், பறையாட்டம் நிறைய கலைஞர்கள் இருக்காங்க, ஆர்டிஸ்ட்லாம் இருக்காங்க. அவங்க எல்லாம் இங்க வந்து performance பண்ணனும் அப்படினு நான் துர்த்துர் கவர்மெண்ட்டை கேட்டுக்கிறேன்.
A couple of months ago, the sarpanches of Turtuk and the neighboring 5 villages which were liberated in 1971 wrote to Prime Minister Modi asking him to organize a function commemorating and celebrating the liberation of these villages. and unification in India. This being the 75th year of India's independence and the golden jubilee year, 50th year of the victory of the 1971 war, and also the golden jubilee of the reunification of these villages in India. The Modi government has organized a huge song and dance festival.
हम ये बचेंगे इसको डमी नहीं और इसका सर जबरे डाउन.
Enthusiasm of the residents of Turtuk and these villages in the Nubra Valley is to be seen, to be believed. They are lapping it up and with much enthusiasm participating in these songs and dances. They are learning about the costumes, music and musical instruments of different parts of the country. This is what symbolizes Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat or unity in diversity. With camera person Kumar Datta in Turtuk in the Nubra Valley, this is Nandita Dagar for DD News.
Moving on, every day we bring you a story on India's freedom struggle. In today's episode of Saga of Freedom, we will pay tribute to Veer Surendra Sai of Sambalpur, who fought to oust the Britishers and Saliha agitation.
On 30th of September 1930, people of Khariar Estate united and protested against taxation on tenants during the civil disobedience movement. The present Nuapada district of Odisha comprises the area of erstwhile Khariar Estate, had always been active in the struggle for independence from the British.
In 1826, when the Khariar estate was ceded to the British, Veer Surendra Sai of Sambalpur region fought to oust the Britishers from the motherland. The British gave warning to the people of Khariar to stop supporting Surendra Sai, but the people did not pay heed and supported Surendra Sai in his fight against the British.
People of Khariar region participated actively in the civil disobedience movement of 1930. It was on this day in 1930 that the people of Khariar state organized a meeting at Salihagarh village. More than 700 people assembled. Their ambition was one. A resolution was passed in the meeting not to give taxes and to revolt against imposition of taxes. This incident is popularly known in the history as Saliha agitation.
To suppress the incident, the police rushed to Saliha while the meeting was in progress. Police encircled the campaigners all of a sudden, lathi charged and opened fire on innocent people. Leaders like Keju Das Baba, Ramlal Deungan, Gauda Rai of Saliha and nearby villages were arrested and were taken to prison. Some died on the spot and many more were wounded.
Also, when Gandhiji was arrested after the launch of the Quit India movement, a number of meetings were held in Khariar to demand the release of Gandhiji. The Quit India movement in Khariar was intense and there was a widespread protest against the British Raj.
Right, let's move on to our next segment now, which is news from across the globe. Kishida Fumio has been elected leader of Japan's main ruling Liberal Democratic Party. As new leader of the Liberal Democratic Party, Kishida is certain to become next Prime Minister of Japan on Monday in Parliament, where his party and coalition partner control the House. He is expected to form a new cabinet and reshuffle the LDP executive in early October. Kishida called on the party to unify so that it can achieve its goals and meet the needs of the people it represents. Kishida made a speech to LDP members of the lower and upper house. He said Japan continues to face crisis and Japan needs to fight against the coronavirus pandemic with firm resolve.
Coronavirus measures.
I will put my all into it and work very hard to tackle it. The hearts of the Japanese people have been broken into pieces because of the COVID-19. For this situation, I want everyone to regain a will where they can feel they can work hard and be one team to take on the national crisis. And Kishida has focused on populist issues like the need to forge a new kind of capitalism and ease divisions of wealth. He has expressed the need to hammer out an economic package worth several tens of trillions of yen by the year end. Within this year, I will compile a stimulus package worth tens of trillions of yen so that I can create a mood where many Japanese people would want to support us. Now is the time to realize a positive cycle for growth and distribution and deliver the fruits of growth throughout the country. I would like to increase income and salary for as many Japanese people as possible. I think that's the kind of economic policy I would like to take. And Japan, news from Japan again, will lift a COVID-19 state of emergency in all regions today as the number of new cases and deaths falls and the strain on the medical system eases. Prime Minister Suga has officially announced he will not extend the coronavirus state of emergency when it expires today. This is the first time since April that all emergency measures are being lifted here. All the 19 prefectures, including Tokyo and Osaka, and 8 others under less stringent measures will expire. The daily cases have fallen nationwide, but the opening will be gradual, with some curbs on restaurants and large-scale events remaining for about a month to prevent a resurgence. The government will introduce a certification system whereby only approved restaurants could stay open until 9 p.m. Bangladesh has recorded a sample positivity rate below 5% for the 9th consecutive day on Wednesday. It marks an improvement in the COVID situation in the country as well as a hopeful scenario about the containment of the pandemic in Bangladesh. The country had recorded above 5% sample positivity rate on September 20th, and according to the latest bulletin of the Directorate General of Health Services, 17 deaths and 1,178 fresh cases were recorded in the country on Wednesday. The death toll in the Bangladesh has now gone up to 27,487. Until now, 2.14 crore people have received the first dose of the vaccine in the country, while 87.3 lakh people have received both the doses of the vaccine till Tuesday. And the European Union's drugs regulator will decide on Monday whether to approve Pfizer's COVID-19 booster vaccine, but it's unlikely to give precise guidance on who should receive it. If the European Medicines Agency gives its backing for the jab, the 27-member bloc would join the United States, Britain and Israel, which have already received the green light to deploy boosters, even though there is no consensus among scientists that they are necessary. And the COVAX, that is a program aiming to ensure fair global access to COVID-19 vaccines, is among the contenders for this year's Nobel Peace Prize. Launched in April 2020, the program is a response to the unprecedented challenge of the COVID-19 pandemic and is co-led by the World Health Organization, the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, and the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization. The program's initial ambitions of acting as a vaccine clearinghouse were scaled back in June to focus on countries deemed most in need. There are 329 candidates for 2021 Nobel Peace Prize, the third highest number of contenders for the prestigious award ever. The winner of the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize will be announced on October 8th. And meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin has offered his Turkish counterpart to use a Russia-produced vaccine for revaccination after talks on Wednesday. Putin, who ended his 2-week self-isolation, met Erdogan in Sochi for talks. Earlier in September, the Kremlin press service said that various people in Putin's inner circle were sick with COVID-19. Meanwhile, Putin has said his antibodies level was high enough not to get sick after contact with an infected person, and suggested Turkish president use the Russian vaccine Sputnik V. Erdogan declined, saying he had already received his booster shot
Russia on Wednesday reported about 857 new corona-related deaths, the most in a single day since the pandemic began. And the second day in a row it has set that record. The government coronavirus task force also reported 22,430 new COVID cases in the past 24 hours.
Let's take a look at updates on COVID-19 from around the world. The global COVID-19 case tally has crossed the 23 crore mark, with over 23 crore 40 lakh cases of COVID-19 have been reported so far. More than 21 crore have recovered, while over 47 lakh 88,000 have lost their lives to the virus globally. The United States remains the worst hit nation, and so far over 4 crore 41 lakh cases have been reported across US. The death toll in the states has surpassed 7 lakh, with more than 7 lakh 13,000 people having lost their lives to the virus.
And more international news. With climate changes on the rise for years now, France's highest mountain, the Mont Blanc, has shrunk by nearly a metre. The latest report from a team of experts show. Nestled in the Alps, the Mont Blanc, whose massif spans France, Italy and Switzerland, now rises at 4,807.81 meters, 92 centimeters less than in 2017, according to latest figures from a team of 30 experts who conducted the measurements for the local government. The peak reached its highest altitude at 4,810 meters in 2007. For surveyors, however, the shrinking should be taken with a grain of salt, since it could be a natural phenomenon. And now an update on La Palma volcano. Well, Abhishek, would you like to take that story?
An update on the volcanic eruption at La Palma, as the lava flow remains active from the Cumbre Vieja volcano and has already constructed a sizable new lava delta reaching out perhaps a few hundred meters into the sea. At the active cone, the lower vent continues to produce a lava fountain and feed the main lava flow. Late evening on the 10th day of the eruptions, and the thousands have been evacuated from their homes since the volcano erupted on September 19th, and lava has engulfed nearly 530 houses and several banana plantations. Spain has classified La Palma a disaster zone in a move that will provide financial support for the island. Spain has approved $12.2 million aid package for La Palma. Now let's move on to our next segment, which is Web News Review.
And our correspondent Vikas Sarthi now joins us with the news that's trending on the World Wide Web. A very good morning to you, Vikas. It's over to you.
Good morning, Rukma. The first news is related to the turmoil in Punjab. Almost all newspapers and websites have reported the development in Punjab, that how ex-CM met Home Minister yesterday, and some newspapers also reported that how the disturbance in Punjab Congress has reached to its central leadership, while several leaders are now questioning the high command over the development in Punjab. The second news is related to the expansion of midday meal scheme to PM Poshan. This step will now benefit almost 1.1 million schools, and apart from the existing beneficiaries, 2.4 million kids will also be benefited from the expansion of midday meal scheme to PM Poshan scheme. Moving ahead, the third news is related to the firecrackers. As we are aware that Supreme Court has banned the use of firecrackers during Diwali, and the court has found that some of the firecrackers manufacturers have been using poisonous elements, heavy metals in their crackers, and in fact Supreme Court has asked CBI to investigate this whole issue, and CBI in its report said that it has found that several firecracker manufacturers in Tamil Nadu and other states have been using heavy metals. Now, court has said that it will initiate contempt of court proceedings against those manufacturers. The fourth news is related to the Delhi police. The Delhi police have been facing a shortage of its personnel, and after going through an audit of the deployment of security personnel, now Delhi police has decided to pull out the security given to some retired bureaucrats and former judges. So that has also been given space in several newspapers, especially those published news related to the Delhi NCR. The last and the fifth story is related to the telecom sector. Telecommunication Minister has said that India will soon see another telecom revolution because there have been some issues related to the telecom sectors. Now these problems will be addressed in the coming days, and country will soon a second revolution in telecom sector very soon. That's all for today. Back to you, Rukma.
Right, thank you so much, Vikas, for the short and crisp web news review segment. Now let's move on to our next segment now, which is Sports Track. So Indian women will play their first ever pink ball day-night test during their tour of Australia today. The pink ball tends to skid more and moves a lot under the lights. Openers Smriti Mandhana and Shefali Verma would need to adjust to the conditions. India last played Australia in a test match at Adelaide in 2006. Australia has a potent pace attack and they are likely to trouble the Indians. Mithali Raj's side broke Australia women's 26-match winning streak with 2-wicket win in the third ODI on Sunday.
In a historic first, Indian women will play their first ever pink ball test against Australia beginning Thursday, and the focus remains on how the batters will adjust to the moving ball in twilight conditions. The pink ball tends to skid more and it moves a lot under lights, and it would be interesting to see how the opening batters Smriti Mandhana and Shefali Verma adjust to the conditions. Mithali Raj's side will enter the test with some momentum behind them as they were able to break Australia's 26-match unbeaten run in ODIs after defeating the hosts in the final ODI by 2 wickets. Earlier this year, India had played their first test in almost 7 years, and owing to heroics by Sneh Rana, Mithali's side was able to walk away with a famous draw. India and Australia had last played a test in 2006, and 15 years later, both sides now find themselves on the cusp of playing a test under lights. Australia has a potent pace attack and they're likely to trouble the Indian batters, so it would be interesting to see whether the visiting camp has it in them to grind it out and play out a few tough hours on the pitch. So in the absence of an experienced middle order, Mithali Raj once again holds the key. Dipti Sharma performed nicely in the test against England, and she would look to continue with her form in the longest format. Jhulan Goswami is coming off a player of the match performance in the third ODI, so she would enter the pink ball contest with high confidence, and it needs to be seen whether the likes of Meghna Singh, Pooja Vastrakar and Shikha Pandey are able to provide her with the desired support at the other end. Sports Desk, DD India.
And in football, Cristiano Ronaldo scored an injury time winner as Manchester United came from behind to beat Villarreal in an action-packed Champions League Group F contest. The repeat of last season's Europa League final, which the Spanish side won on penalties, looked to be heading for a draw after another disappointing United performance, but summer signing Ronaldo stroked home from Jesse Lingard's layoff to spark jubilant scenes at Old Trafford, making his 178th appearance in the Champions League the most of by any player. Ronaldo coolly converted in the 95th minute for his 5th goal of the campaign.
And Robert Lewandowski scored twice as Bayern Munich made it 2 wins from 2 in the Champions League group stage with victory over Dynamo Kyiv. Bayern have now scored 8 goals in their opening 2 Group E games. They sit top with maximum points and visit Benfica, currently second on 4 points, in their next European game.
And after yet another demoralizing loss, struggling Barcelona faces a grim future in the Champions League. The Spanish club followed its 3-0 opening loss against Bayern Munich with another 3-0 defeat at Benfica on Wednesday. Bottom of its group, Barcelona suddenly sees itself in danger of not reaching the knockout stage for the first time since 2000-2001.
And Italy forwards Federico Chiesa and Federico Bernardeschi ran consistently through the heart of Chelsea's defence. Romelu Lukaku was held in check and Juventus convincingly beat the injury-depleted trophy defender 1-0 in the Champions League on Wednesday. With this win, Juventus took control of Group H with a full 6 points. Chelsea and Zenit St. Petersburg have 3 points each and Malmo has 0. Well, now let's take a look at today's weather forecast.
And the satellite picture shows
the well-marked low-pressure area lie over Saurashtra and neighbourhood, and the associated cyclonic circulation extends up to mid-tropospheric levels. It is likely to move west northwards, emerge into northeast Arabian Sea and intensifying into a depression by tomorrow. So light to moderate rainfall at most places with heavy to very heavy falls at isolated places very likely over Saurashtra and Kutch, and heavy falls at isolated places over Gujarat region and North Konkan. Heavy rainfall at isolated places over Gangetic, West Bengal, Odisha and Jharkhand. And heavy rainfall at isolated places likely over Bihar from 30th September to 3rd October. Very heavy falls also very likely over Bihar on 1st and 2nd October. Now let's take a look at minimum and maximum temperatures across different cities. Right, and that's a wrap. But before we end this breakfast show, it's a reminder to wear a face mask before you step out of your house and follow all the government protocols and COVID appropriate behavior. Remember, the cases might be declining, but we cannot afford to lower our guard.
Very true and very well said, Abhishek. And as we go, as always, we leave you these beautiful visuals of us outstanding beauty, a big name in the history of Britain, and their royal legacy, the Princess of Wales Diana. A taping of the Broadway musical about the always fondly remembered princess is expected to premiere on the 1st of October. And as we go, we leave you with these visuals, snippets of the musical. Take a look. Have a great day. Namaskar.